Did you know that Cristiano Ronaldo is only the 100th best player in FM23? That is at least according to his current ability rating in the new installment of the game. It's just one really interesting new change for FM23, and in today's video we're going to dive into the other big changes, the biggest nerfs and buffs, the biggest improvements or declines of players from last year's game to this year's game. It's going to be a lot of data, and I think it should be an interesting one to dive into. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a very data-driven video today then, courtesy of my good friend Tobes, who has created this spreadsheet which lists out every player, or at least the top 500 players in Football Manager according to their current abilities. We've got all from FM22 and all of them from FM23, meaning we can now go through and compare who are the best players in FM23, but who has been improved the most and who has been nerfed the most. I'm trying to think of what a better word is. It's very gamer, isn't it, saying nerfs and buffs, but I think you know what I mean if I say that, right? Today's video is going to be all about this. We're going to look at who has had the biggest improvements, have a look at those profiles too, who has been made worse for FM23, have a look at their profiles too, maybe compare where they've been changed, and I think it's some interesting data to dive into. But before we dive into it properly, a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're within about 400 subscribers from 30,000, which was my big aim for the launch of FM23, wasn't it? It'd be really cool to hit that soon. So if you haven't already subscribed and you like this type of content or the other types of content that we create on the channel too, there's a Newcastle save going on, there are rebuilds going on, there are simulations going on. I think there's a little bit of something for everybody on the channel too, and I'm going to keep pumping out that content, so please do subscribe. Like this video too if this is a bit of you, and leave me those comments. Let's see, before we dive into it, who do you think is going to be, let's have a prediction, who do you think is going to be the player that has been improved the most from FM22 to FM23? See if you get that prediction correct, and then maybe towards the end of the video let me know if there's a player that you think should have been improved more or should have been made worse from FM22 to FM23. Leave me those comments, and I guess we should dive into this data then. Now, I think we should start by just actually having a look at who are the best players in FM23 and comparing them to who the best players were in FM22. As I mentioned before, all of this data is to do with their current ability rating in the game at the start of the game. So right at the start, before you play any of your saves, obviously. In FM22, the best player in the game was Lionel Messi with a 194 CA, or current ability. This year, there is a new best player in the world according to Football Manager. You've probably seen it in people's social media posts, haven't you? It's Kevin De Bruyne with a 189, so he's not as good as Messi was, but Messi has gone from a 194 all the way down to a 180, so a minus 14, negative 14 change for Lionel Messi. You may see him somewhere on the most nerfed players list. That's nothing though compared to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was the 6th highest rated player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest rated player, I should say, with a 182 CA. If I go to FM23 and scroll down, I have to keep going past these players that you see on here: Sadio Mane, Kai Havertz, Edouard Mendy, all the way down. Keep going, keep going, keep going. He's about joint 100th all the way here, look, by Matthijs de Ligt and Ben Chilwell. He has the same current ability as Ben Chilwell and Diogo Jota and Nkunku with a 158. A big nerfing for Cristiano Ronaldo. There are some players that you maybe expect, maybe don't expect, but you can see Lewandowski's gone from 2nd to 3rd. Mbappe's up to 2nd with a 188. Salah there, look, from a 184 to a 185. Van Dijk 181, 180 last year. Messi we talked about. Courtois, spelt wrong actually, we need a U in there. Tobes, come on, spelling, please. That was very teacher, wasn't it, actually? And then, yeah, so these are our highest players. Does anyone jump out there? Let me know in the comments if they do jump out in these ones. Harry Kane, 184 to a 183. Made slightly worse. Interesting. But Kevin De Bruyne is now the best player in the game. I think what is interesting to look at next, though, is which players have had the biggest jump in terms of improving their current ability. Remember, this is only the top 500 players. Otherwise, there may have been players in, like, League 2 that have had a jump of, like, 50 CA. But we're not going to look at those. We're going to look at the top 500 from each game. This is interesting viewing. Who do you think is going to be top? Let's have a look now. And here then, in this list, are those improvements, those buffs, if you like. These players have all been improved from last game. They have been at the bottom here. The top 100 is what we're going to keep an eye on. These players have been improved by 6 current ability. And as we scroll up, you're going to see some players have been improved massively from last season or from last year's game. Chris Smalling's been improved. Anguissa, Alexis McAllister, not surprising. A lot of these won't be a surprise, will they? Lima's been a really good last year. Bernardo Silva's been improved. Courtois still spelt wrong. So annoying. Let's scroll up through so that you can see which players are in here. Maybe pick out 1 or 2. Julian Alvarez at Manchester City. Foden improved by 8. Salisu by 9. Haaland, by the way, this is an interesting point. How good was he in FM22? He's now 8 current ability better in FM23. Imagine where he's going to be next year. It's scary to think of, isn't it? Keep going up towards the top 50 now. Charles de Ketelaere, 11. Mehdi Taremi, Saka, Diogo Costa, the goalkeeper, by 12. Jude Bellingham improved by 12. Into the top 20, Pepe the winger improved by 14, which is interesting as well. I'm going to try not to keep saying the word interesting, but it is interesting. Data is interesting. Gavi improved by 18. Look, now these players here have received a big buff to their current abilities. Ronaldo, here is the top 5. Ivan Provedel improved by 20. I'll splash his profile up on the screen here so you can see him. Look, massive improvements. Mitrovic, 17. But into the top 5. Into the top 4 then, after Provedel, the 4th most improved player for FM23 is... It's Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Now, that might be a bit of a surprise, but if you actually have a look at his profile here, he looks really good in FM23, doesn't he? He does have a surname that sounds like a prom venue, as I say every time I see his name, but 21 current ability improved from FM22 to FM23. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall looks like a serious player in FM23. In at number 3, we've got Kim Min-jae, the centre-back at Napoli. They are having a fantastic season. You will see how many of these players are Napoli players. I mean, go and have a look afterwards. It is quite crazy to see. FM is rating them highly. Or should I say Parthenope when I mention Napoli. Kim Min-jae, the centre-back, looks pretty good. He's been improved massively. 23 current ability. Number 2 is another Napoli player. It's Kavica Kvaratskhelia, who is sensational this year. I've signed him in the Newcastle save for big money. I think a lot of people will be trying to sign him. He is the next big thing. He's been in so many videos at the start of this FM23 launch, hasn't he, for me? Because he's great. He's been improved by 25 as well, but he's not the most buffed player in FM23, because the most buffed player in FM23, not most buff, but most improved, I'm going to say that. The most improved player is... It's Enzo Fernandez. So many people ask me when I'm streaming, have a look at Enzo Fernandez. He is sensational. There he is. Look, have a look at this profile. He is a really good player. He's been improved a lot and he's become great. 27 current ability improvement for Enzo Fernandez. Those are the top players then in terms of improvements for FM23. Should we have a look at which players have been made worse? On to the biggest nerfs of... I cannot pull it off. I can't. The players that have been made worse for FM23. The top 100 then, if we start going through them, it starts with Jonathan Vieira by a -6 or a -6. Isco, Hermoso, Tagliafico, Kasper Schmeichel. Of course, a lot of these players would have been made worse just because they've got that year older and some of their attributes would have been falling off. Players like David Silva, for example, at 91. It's not because he's not good and he's been poor. It's because he's just got a year older. Same with the likes of Rui Patricio or Rakitic, for example. Some of them, however, have just been not as good as they have been previously. As you scroll through, maybe you could spot 1 or 2 of those. Griezmann is worse than last year. Willy Bolly, Eric Bailly, Moise Keane, Saul, Ibrahimovic, definitely one for getting older. He's now very old. Firmino, though, a -7 after having a pretty good start to the season as well with Liverpool. -7 for him, though. Into the top 50, Pogba, big fall off from him, -8. Leon Bailey, -9. Gareth Bale, -9. João Pedro, Wan-Bissaka, big one. Maybe that's one to do with form rather than getting older, actually. A -10 for him. Alexis Sanchez, Yuri. Towards the top 20 now, there's one maybe to point out. Harry Maguire, -12 with his current ability for this FM. Lukaku, -12 as well. He was at Chelsea, of course, at the start of FM22. Keep going then. We are now into the top 10. Pepe Reina is 9th. Danny Ings is 10th with a -15. Seems maybe slightly harsh on Danny Ings, but maybe justified. Dries Mertens. And now we make our way towards the top 5. Predictions again. Who do you think is going to be in this top 5? Where... Notable absences, Cristiano Ronaldo. Where do you think he's going to be in this list here? Fernandinho is 6th with a -17. That is a big difference. Again, another year older, though, for a player like Fernandinho. Top 5. At number 5, is Kostas Manolas, the former Napoli, former Roma defender. He is a -18. Have a look at his profile here. See if you can spot maybe where he's got worse from last year. Maybe some of those physicals potentially. In at number 4, Luis Suarez, -19. A year older, Luis Suarez. Again, you could probably predict it, but though that is a big drop-off. Again, some of those physicals dropping off for a player like Suarez. Into the top 3, at number 3, it's Alex Teixeira, once very famously linked with Liverpool and then going to... Did he go to Shakhtar Donetsk? Where did he go after being linked to Liverpool? I feel like it was something like that. Anyway, he has been made 20 current ability worse this year. And then top 2... Josip Ilicic is number 2, -22. There's his profile here. And then in at number 1, the player that has been made worse by the most for FM23 is, maybe shockingly, maybe not, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, a -24 from FM22 to FM23. That is a huge drop-off for the Manchester United striker. Do you agree with it? Let me know in those comments down below. Are there players that you are surprised by how they've been changed? Are there players you've spotted in here that you think, not so sure about that one? Also, are there players that you think should have been made better or made worse? Let me know in those comments down below. But Cristiano Ronaldo is the player that has received the biggest nerf for FM23. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video, something a little bit different. I do like jumping into the data in FM though, and thank you very much for Tobes for once again going through and pulling out and extracting all this data so that we could do a video like this. Big shout out to him. He is a legend, a mod in the channel. We love Tobes, don't we? Thank you so much for watching, though. I do hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so because we're pushing towards a pretty nice number of 30,000 subscribers right now. If you've liked it, leave a like and leave in those comments down below. And most importantly, have a lovely rest of your day. Oh, I've just remembered. By the way, if you want to go and look at this in even more detail, I will be uploading it to the Patreon as well. So any of you Claytreon members, you will have access to this file. Go through it in loads more detail and just, you know, have a look at who's moved. I'm also going to hopefully maybe add a bit more stats and data to that too with the help of Tobes as well over on the Patreon. Also, you do get your name in at the end of the videos as well as a way of a thank you for supporting over on Patreon. The links to that are in the description of today's video. And that is where we'll end it for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.